Alrighty, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, April 30th, year 2014. Welcome live on YouTube.com. Hello, everybody. My name is Coropal Martinez. Thank you very much for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon here live on YouTube.com. Let's first off start off with some news, some local news here presented by Champ Sports. We know the game. For more, visit champs.com. Alrighty, here we go. Dallas, Texas. A truck driver called police after being surprised by two men banging on the roof of the cab of his truck while on Interstate 35 Tuesday night. The two stowaways told Dallas police they climbed onto the roof of a truck in Inbrook, Texas, about an hour drive from Dallas, near the border with Mexico. They said they had started to get cold after a nightfall, so they started banging on the roof in order to get the driver to stop. When the driver heard their banging, he called 911 and kept driving until police caught up with him on northbound Central Expressway just past Walnut Hill Lane. The two men said they were from Oregonian nationals. They were transported by DPD to Dallas County Jail where they were interviewed by representatives of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They were interviewed by representatives of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They were later released. This was not the first time this happened to the truck driver, police said. No details were offered on previous incidents. You know, we remember a couple of years ago we talked about this. This was a long time ago when I was about what? A long time ago this happened, an incident here in Dallas where an 18-wheeler was carrying a lot of people from parts of their national countries. And this driver was caught on Interstate 20 and the cab was, as we say, confiscated from him. And that day the police, everyone here in Dallas and Fort Worth chased this guy, and as we said, they stopped. And thank goodness for the Dallas Police Department, they did that job well. Tonight is 12:08 here, and thank you for joining me here live on YouTube.com. Temperature right now in Dallas, 59 degrees under mostly partly cloudy skies. Not bad to start your afternoon here. Okay, so here we go with some sports news. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about this NBA games that we got going on today. At 6 o'clock tonight on TNT, we got the Dallas Mavericks at the San Antonio Spurs, followed by the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Toronto Raptors. Then 8:30 on TNT, the Portland Trail Blazers taking on the Houston Rockets. Now, I very much find this kind of, as we say, kind of odd to see one team come back after years. So let's go ahead and talk about this here on the NBA story, shall we? But before I begin talking about this story here today, Wednesday, April 30th, year 2014, I gotta tell you the fans, this afternoon, this story I'm about to read here, this topic I'm about to read here live on YouTube.com, let's just say has a lot of things to talk about, one person only. Now, I am going to name this person for the second time. And so far, it's been to a great amount of issues that, let's just say, happen from back to back. Okay. Now, was this the right idea for it to happen? I think so. So, this is where we start in just a moment, shall we? But before we begin talking about this, as you may know, this past week we lost a great colleague from our ESPN family, radio, and television. We'll search him in a little bit. But before we begin, let's start talking about this young man here who kind of, let's just say, said some odd, inappropriate things about the African American athletes who play in the NBA. Now, I'm not going to name any players in the story, and I will mention the owner's name that I will mention, but I will not, I repeat, I will not mention the players' names in this story. Okay? So do forgive me if I do not mention these players' names. Because as it may seem, let's just say it's a little odd for this story to have happened in the first place here today. So, here we go. New York City. Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling has been banned. Excuse me. New York City. Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling has been, excuse me, once again. There we go. Sorry. New York City. Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling has been banned for life by the NBA in response to racist comments the league said he made in a recorded conversation. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said he will try to force the controversial owner to sell his franchise. Sterling was also fined $2.5 million. Silver made no effort to hide his outrage over the comments. And I quote, "I fully expect to get support I need from the other NBA owners to remove him," Silver said. The report, which came 3 days after the scandal broke, is the harshest penalty ever issued by the league and one of the stiffest punishments ever given to an owner in professional sports. And that, he's got a point. Silver said in the league investigation found in the NBA's largest tenure owner was the fact the person on its igniting audio tapes released over the weekend. "We stand together condemning Mr. Sterling's views," Silver said. "They simply have no place in the NBA." Silver said Sterling acknowledged he was the man on the tape. Sterling is immediately barred from attending NBA games or practices and being present at any Clippers office or facility, or participating in any business or player personal decisions involving the team. He could not participate in any league businesses going forward. It was unclear how Sterling will respond, and a lawsuit certainly seems possible. Sterling's lawyer, Robert Platt, declined comment when asked by ESPN whether Sterling would be disciplined, dispute, or respond to the league's actions. The league is far from bigger than any one owner or any coach and any one player, Silver said. A team source told ESPN.com, Ramona Shelburne, that the Clippers expect to work closely with the NBA to determine who will run the franchise. The woman in the recording, who goes by, cooperated with the NBA, as did a third person who was in the room. When the tapes made, other source told Shelburne, the woman verified to the league that it was her and Sterling on the tapes, according to the source. Lawyer Mark Ray told the LA Times his client didn't have, excuse me for my words, didn't have a sexual or romantic relationship with Sterling, and never wanted any harm to Donald. It is very saddened by Silver's decision. decision. The recordings that had been released were made in September, and Sterling knew he was being recorded. The source told Churbain had several additional hours of audio and video recordings of Sterling, according to the source. Attorney told the LA Times that his client didn't release the tape and that someone released it for money. Sterling's $2.5 million fine will be donated to organizations declared to anti-discrimination and tolerance efforts that will be jointly selected by the NBA and the Players Association, Silver said. This has all happened in 3 days, and I am so hopeful that there will be no long-term damage to the league and to the Clippers organization, Silver said. But I said earlier, I am outraged, so I certainly understand other people's outrage. This will take some time, and appropriate healing will be necessary. After the announcements, the Clippers website had a simple message, we are one. We heartily support and embrace the decision by the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver today. Now the healing process begins, the Clippers added in a statement released to the media. Prior to their Game 5 against the Warriors, Clippers coach Doc Rivers addressed the media and praised Silver's decision to ban Stern. I thought Adam Silver today was fantastic. He made a decision that really was right, one that had to be made, Rivers said. I don't think this is something we rejoice in or anything like that. I told the players about the decision, and I think they were just very happy. There was a resolution, and it's over, or at least the start of it. I was just really proud of them. And I've been proud of the players and the NBA overall. I've been proud of the ownership throughout the league. And I think we're all in a better place because of this. The league's investigation, excuse me. The league's investigation started Saturday, and the players immediately have been expressing intense displeasure with the situation, even going so far and to ask Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson to get involved on behalf of the Players Union. Johnson is acting as liaison for the National Basketball Players Association. The Clippers All-Star Point president of the Players Union issued a brief statement before landing Los Angeles against the Warriors on Tuesday night on TNT Network. And I quote, in response to today's ruling by the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, my teammates and I are in agreement with his decision. Said, we appreciate the strong leadership from Commissioner Silver, and he has our full support. The penalties issued against Sterling drew an immediate reaction from players, teams, and executives around the NBA. We maintain that audio recording took to Twitter was to support Silver's ruling. Hashtag. I'm going to read you some Twitters here. I'm not going to mention the players' names, like I said, once again, due to personal reasons. And I quote, Commissioner Silver showed great leadership in banning LA Clippers owner Donna Sterling for life. Hashtag. Former and current NBA players are very happy and satisfied with Commissioner Silver's ruling. Johnson's role on the tape Sting apparently posted a photo of her and Hall of Famer on Instagram account. That photo has been since deleted and it raised Sterling's snoring nutless. And I quote, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with excuse my words, also on this one, North Texas, when you're associating with black people. Do you have to? Sterling asked the woman on the tape. Silver said when he first heard the audio, like he hoped It had been altered or was fake, but also said from their 24-year relationship with Sterling that he was suspected the voice was through. On Monday, he said kicking Sterling out of the league could be a slippery slope. Dallas Mavericks owner Cuban tweeted his approval on Silver's Tuesday ruling. Hashtag. I agree 100% with Commissioner Silver's findings and the actions taken against Donald Sterling. Johnson, the former Phoenix Suns star, said in a separate news conference Tuesday he is proud of the league's decision. Adam Silver is not the only owner's commissioner. He is the players' commissioner, Johnson said. There was universal prize of Silver's decision from the NBA owners with Joe Lacob, whose Golden State Warriors play the Clippers on Tuesday night in Game 5, a first-round playoff series, saying, "We applaud with firm punishment handed out today by the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and appropriate the swiftness with which the NBA conducted its investigation. We cannot tolerate such feelings or beliefs not only in the NBA, but in science and society and in general. There is absolutely no room for racism in our world, period." And I quote, "This has all happened in 3 days. And so I'm hopeful there will be no long-term damage to the league, the Clippers organization, but I said earlier, I am outraged, so I certainly understand other people's outrage. This will take some time and appropriate healing will be necessary." The Chicago Bulls came the first owner to publicly state he plans to vote in favor of Sterling's dismissal. The commissioner was correct to ban Mr. Sterling from all official NBA businesses to leaving the stiffest allowable fine, and we will support his recommendation to press Mr. Sterling to relinquish his ownership of the Los Angeles Clippers franchise. Sent a statement, the NCAP, which recently reclaimed a Lifetime Achievement Award intended for Mr. Sterling, also applaud the league's sensations. So this was a great issue given to this man. I thought for certain hours that this was something given to anyone else around the globe. And clearly, it was not the only people. But I do gotta say, as myself as a Hispanic person, who I very much respect every single person of the color of their race, of their creed, or whatever. Now, myself as a Hispanic person, I show respect to every African American athlete out there who plays professional sports, especially for Major League Baseball, to the NFL, to college football, to college basketball, to high school football, to lacrosse, to Major League Soccer, to European soccer, the CFL and the AFL, the Olympics, the WNBA, golf, NASCAR, monster trucks, Little League Baseball, high school soccer, high school basketball, and academy schools basketball also. I very much support you guys in all this. And I think it's time for this to have ended in a good way. It sure has. We'll take a quick break here. Coming up next, we'll continue talking more about this Sterling situation, what should happen, and then we also got a top story to talk about here today Unfortunately, this is coming out of college basketball football. We'll tell you what happened and which people are involved. We're involved in this situation. We'll talk about it here in just a moment because to me, as it may seem, this is something that giving for an opportunity which stands on all of us. Now, this is something I never talk about, but I think it's the right time, the right place to what really happened as we speak here in just a moment. Because this is something that I technically, I'm guessing, understood quite well what happened with the team here who clearly has no idea what really happened at that time. Because this is something that stands on all of us. We got two cases to talk about here today. This is something that we should talk about when we come back. For now, we're going to go ahead and go over here, I'm guessing, to the football page here in just a moment. We'll click on the stories that technically happened here. Well, I'm guessing this was the next, excuse me. We'll get to the point to where what really happened here in just a moment. But I really want to take the time to really, talk about this. Because this was something out of the ordinary. It shouldn't have never happened in the first place. We'll tell you what college football team it was here. We'll tell you in just a moment here. Which college football team was this? Well, most of you saw him play last season, if I may add, right? So we'll tell you which college football team it was here. As soon as I find him here on my side of my screen here, and you think this was it right here. We'll talk about it when we come back here next, live on YouTube.com. We're back next.
This can't be happening. Of course it's not happening. Car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee. Save $1,000 a year. Feed me. So you can't save money? That's the easiest part. Brown bag of lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years with 21,000 bucks. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, $6 tomorrow. FeedThePig.org. Take-out newspaper, $12.99. Call it. Jerry Pearson. You are the sole surviving heir of the king of Montanopoulos. You are now worth $45 million.
I'm rich. It can't be real.
Of course it's not real. Come on. Having money isn't about luck. Like that takeout. Cook at home instead, you can save thousands a year. Feed me. You can't save money. That's the easiest part. Drink with a chip. The $3 bottle of water a day times 10 years times 50% interest is over 14,000 grams. Small changes today, $6 tomorrow. FeedThePig.org.
Alright, welcome back here live on YouTube.com. And clearly, as it may stand here, let's talk about this report here. This was something that very much, surprised me. And how this issue happened, right? This was something that I'm guessing never meant to happen, I guess. But this is a story that happened all of a sudden from a Vanderbilt team. We'll tell you what really happened here in just a moment. Because this is something that very much surprised me at some point. And how do you say, it's very disappointing. We had a lot of these cases happen back to back, right? And clearly, I'm guessing it wasn't even given a thought, right? Because it really wasn't given a thought to this situation. But as it may stand, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and now, as I continue here on forward, we want to really learn what really happened with this issue. Because to me, as you may see, this is a situation happening on forward. And clearly, now as I said, this is something that I would not say for the fact that this is a real situation on forward. Now before I begin talking about this issue, the things I'm about to say here live on YouTube.com could be a little bit not so good. Okay? So please hold your thoughts on this one here. Presented by 1-800-Flowers. Raise a toast to mom. Happy hour collection. Shop now. For more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Okay, here we go. A new defense filing in the case involving rape charges against 4 former Vanderbilt players claims that then Commodores and current Penn State coach James Franklin contacted the accuser shortly after the alleged incident. The filing prompted in a response from Franklin later Tuesday denying he did something wrong. The defense attorneys Brendan Vandersburg, one of the 4 former players charged with 5 of counts of aggravated rape stemming from the alleged on-campus assault of a 21-year-old female student last June, asked the court to dismiss the charges because the prosecution failed to perceive key evidence. And the filing defense says Franklin and strength coach Dwight Galt, who left Vanderbilt for the same jobs at Penn State this winter, talked to the accuser during a medical examination 4 days after the rape. Franklin and Galt told the woman they cared about her because she assisted them with recruiting, according to the filing later. The defense said Coach Franklin called her in for a private meeting and told her he wanted her to get 15 pretty girls together and form a team to assist with recruiting, even he knew it was against the rules. According to the Tennessean, Franklin added that all of the other colleges did it. The allegations that I did something wrong are simply not true. Franklin said in a statement released by Penn State, and I quote, time is 12:34. I have cooperated fully with the authorities in this matter, but out of the respect for the legal process, I am not able to comment any further. The allegations were contained in the latest filing of a case that had been ferocious between prosecutors and defense lawyers, with both sides trading allegations of misconduct. Vanderburg's attorneys accused prosecutors of sabotage, and it said they eventually concealed evidence from Vanderburg's defense. A spokeswoman for the Davidson County District Attorney's Office said in an email to the Associated Press that prosecutors have not seen the filing. Vanderburg's defense team said the paperwork filed in Nashville that some of the evidence missing included text messages from Franklin and form records and call logs from Franklin. Vandersburg is charged with 5 accounts of aggravated rape, 2 accounts of sexual battery, and unlawful photography and tampering with evidence. He and the other defendants have been pleaded not guilty to the charges. The other former players have charged, which I'm not going to name. Well, I guess I'll name. Sorry. The other former players charged are Corey Batesy, Brandon, Eric Banks, Javon McKinsey. The paperwork filed by Vandersburg's lawyer says they were given a surveillance video from the 14 cameras of a Vanderbilt Dome parking lot dorm hallways and surrounding areas that say that after reviewing the video, it became apparent that material video footage has been inventory removed. The lawyers allege about 55% of the footage has been removed. They also say a number of other items are missing, including social media text messages from other witnesses and texts from the phone of the accuser. Prosecutors have also made serious allegations against the defense. They accused one of the Vandersburg's attorneys of causing evidence to be destroyed. One prosecutor has called a defense attorney an indicted to a CO correspondent. You know, this is not the first time this has happened here in college football. But it's amazing to me what in the world has happened. These 4 guys have pleaded not guilty, which means not culpable. You know, these guys did this to a 21-year-old female, and they wanted her to get 15 pretty girls. Okay, are these guys out of their? Have they lost their mind clearly? I mean, no college football team ever does this. Now, we understand the college football athletes that like girls. Who doesn't like girls? Who doesn't like girls? Like I said, this is an obvious situation given to the point to where I'm saying, once again, it doesn't sound right given a thought. Included to me as you may see right now, this stands to be another issue. Okay, here we go. Another case happens in New Mexico. We'll tell you what player it is here in just a moment. This is something that very much disappoints me, as you may see. Now, this is not the only time given to this issue, but this is something that clearly it kind of bugs me. So here we go. We'll tell you what player it is and what did he do here. We'll tell you what he did here in just a moment. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Cornerback Shaquan Edwards is being held without bond after surrendering to authorities in a rape case that previously led to the arrest of a teammate, Caruso Goins Bay. Edwards was booked late Tuesday into an Albuquerque jail on suspension of criminal sexual penetration. Coach Bob Dye says the 21-year-old redshirt junior from Houston, Texas has been suspended from the team according to policy. It's not immediately known whether Edwards has a lawyer. University Police Lieutenant Tim Stump did not immediately respond Wednesday to messages the Associated Press. Goins was suspended from the team after being arrested on April 13th in an incident which a female student said she was raped. Goins' lawyer has said his client is presumed innocent. A former student has also been arrested in the case. Okay, now this is a different scenario here. I've seen this kid play last season in college football. And it surprised me that these 2 teammates, Shaquan Edwards and Caruso Goins, are charged with rape. Now, we're not for sure how old was this college student. She could have been 19, 18 years old. I'm not so sure. what her age was. I'm guessing that could have been the age right there. But obviously, as I may seen here, folks, this is something that very much surprises me here. I mean, what are these athletes getting themselves into? You play well college football, you make a lot of tons of millions and millions of dollars, and now these two guys supposedly were going to get drafted in the NFL draft this year. Apparently not. These two guys very much disappoint me. These two players disappoint me because really, this is something that's never happened. Like I said, I really don't know what was the victim's age. She could have been 18, 19 years old, and now she's saying these two guys raped her. So that means they were involved in a rape case. I'm not so sure what really happened here. But okay, here we go. Another one, a tremendous one really happened. And this is something that has been a series of situations. But the story I'm about to tell you here, this is very life or death here. San Jose, California. The family of San Jose State football player Jared Leaf says the linebacker is in critical condition after suffering burns to his body while escaping from a fire in his apartment near campus last week. Leaf, who has been listed as a starting linebacker for the Spartans, at the conclusion of spring practice is being treated at the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center Burn Center. He escaped the fire about a block from the campus late Wednesday night. Lee's family expressed its appreciation from the hospital staff, San Jose State's coaches, players, and athletic department officials, as well as all others have provided their support and help. The family says Jared has a long road ahead of him, and we are confident he will recover, and with the continued support from all. This is something that I very much admire. This young man escapes from a fire. He couldn't have easily died in that issue. And this is something given to me. Here's another one that we're going to talk about here. Now this guy very much also surprises me what he have done also. What were the reasons for him? I really don't know, but he was supposed to be what? Drafted in the NFL. Okay, here we go. Columbus, Ohio. After intentional charges were made, according to court records, former Ohio State cornerback Bradley Robbie pleaded guilty to physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of drugs or alcohol in Franklin County Court on Tuesday. Internally, Robbie was charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicated following a stop in downtown Columbus on April 20th. Officers have been called to the scene of a person passed out behind the wheel of a car, but they couldn't get the driver's attention. When they opened the door, they noticed the odor of alcohol. Robbie fell to a sobriety test. Following the incident, Robbie took to the social media to defend himself, posting a picture of his breath analyst that showed a reading of 0.8 on the subject's simple writing. I was not drunk. The updated charges and guilty plea were accompanied by a punishment of 180 days in jail for 30 days of a probation. But the jail time will be suspended if Robbie completes a 3-day driver's invitation program. He was also fined $3.75 million. Robbie elected to skip his final season of eligibility with the Buckeyes is predicted to go the 24th overall pick in the latest mock draft. The speedy cornerback is ranked at the 4th best prospect of his position and is scheduled to one of the other 30 players in attendance at the draft on May 8th. Now, for a guy who got in trouble with the law in Columbus, Ohio, I truly think that he does not need to go play in the NFL. I don't think any team would want to get him, but clearly what has happened with the NBA, in the NFL, I really have no idea what's going on there, really. But before we begin here, this is a different situation giving to what has happened. So let's see it here. And what a person said here today is it obvious. This is something that I really can't say. But this person who we talked about, I guess the story wasn't on there yesterday, but we'll read the story here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and read the story here. We're gonna go back here to ESPN.com, and then a few more hours we'll take another commercial break. Okay, because this is something that has been a situation. Now we got some more stories to talk about this young man here today. Not the one that was posted here, right? But as you may see here, this is something that um, clearly we didn't talk about here earlier, but we will talk about it here in just a moment. Here, this story was posted today at 10:33 Central Time here on ESPN.com. A new defense filing the case involving rape charges against four former Vanderbilt players claims that the Commodores and current Penn State coach James Franklin contacted the accusers shortly after the alleged incident. The filing prompted a response from Franklin later Tuesday denying he did something wrong. The defense attorneys from Brandon Bennisburg and one of the four former players charged with 5 counts of aggravated rape stemming from an alleged on-campus assault of a 21-year-old female student last June. You know, this is something that still, once again, very much surprises me. That these men have not pleaded guilty. And this is really weird, I'm telling you. But the weirdest story popped us here today, and 11 teams should consider Johnny Manziel, but there is one person, a Hall of Famer quarterback who played with the Dallas Cowboys here in Dallas, Texas. We'll tell you who he was here in just a moment. But he thinks that they're not a great fit for him, right? So, where do I stand on this young man here? To me, as you may seem here, it's obviously a situation giving. I mean, being asked here, it's one thing. But this is something that very much stands on me, really, because I very much think that this is something that this one person here said, well, let's see if we can find a story of this young man here, shall we? Because his name is what, Roger Starbuck? Okay. We'll say about Roger Starbuck here in just a moment, as soon as we can find the story to this issue. Because clearly to me, as it may seem, this person thinks that this issue should have never happened in the first place. Now, I don't know where Roger Starbuck is getting this from, but he thinks Johnny Football does not belong with the Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you something, Hall of Fame legend quarterback number 12. You have no idea what's really going on here with Johnny Football. I talked about it during the off season, and really, to me, it may seem this right now. But where do we go on this young man here? I mean, clearly, is this a great opportunity for this young man here, who very much stands as on point, is the best situation ever given to this guy. So, to me, where does it stand on these guys? It's something that clearly to me, as I mean, seeing it kind of does. Let's just say it kind of does bother us. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because one person, like I said, he thinks that Manziel does not belong in with the football team in Dallas. Well, let me tell you something. He belongs. He belongs here in Dallas. And I couldn't say anywhere else for an issue like this, but clearly, where has Roger Starbuck lost his mind? I mean, clearly, to me, This is something that clearly to me it says, well, not big enough for anyone else at a point, right? So, as it may seem here on forward, what really stands is how do I know for that fact that this isn't a person we're talking about here? Because Roger Starbuck thinks, oh, I don't think Johnny Manziel fits anywhere. Well, let me tell you, he truly does. Okay, here we go. This is the one we're looking for. Not a fit. We'll read you the story here in just a moment. Obviously, this is a situation here that was not given to me. Presented by Pizza Papa John's. 16 double plain starch pizza, cheese sticks, or dessert. Promo code PBJ double plain. Order now. PapaJohns.com. Official sponsor of the Texas Rangers. Okay. Time is 12:52. We begin the top of the 1 o'clock hour here today, Wednesday, April 30th, year 2014. Here we go. Irving, Texas. Roger Staubach has been a fan of Tony Romo since the beginning. He also believes that Johnny Manziel will have a long career in the NFL. But the Dallas Cowboys Hall of Fame quarterback does not want to see Romo and Manziel on the same team. Recent talk has the Cowboys interested in picking up Manziel in the first round of next week's draft, ranging from doing anything they can get to him and hoping that he will fall close to their 60th pick. On 105.3 The Fan in Dallas on Monday, Executive Vice President Stephen Jones said any entrance in Manziel is purely separation and that the team has yet to rate the quarterback's position as a group. Romo, who turned 34 last week, is coming off his second back surgery in less than a year. He has been involved in off-season coordinating program in the last 2 weeks and is expected to be ready on field work when phase 2 of the off-season begins. And I quote, I try to make people understand if you brought Tom Brady for his last year, or Peyton Manning, or Andrew Luck, it's a team effort. You need a solid defense, or you're going to be an 8-8 Starbuck said. If we really had a good defense, we wouldn't have been 11-5 easily. I hope Romo has 3-4 more years left in him. The people that really understand football understand how good he is. But with those second opinions will be screaming for Manziel and all the time. I think Manziel has got interest, and I think he'll be a fine player. But I don't think you want Manziel when you have a franchise quarterback. Jerry has paid Romo as a franchise. I think Tony is that he's not the only reason we're 8-8. That's my feeling. To start back a quarterback controversially is the quickest way to hurt a team. In 1971, coach Tom Landry had Staubach and Greg Morton alternating series before settling on Staubach. And the Cowboys went to win their first Super Bowl. We're probably had half of the people want Craig on the field, and half of them wanted me, and even teammates might have felt the same. If you pull them early in the year when Craig and I was going back and forth, Staubach said, who's ever going to be the quarterback? You need a quarterback that's a leader, and the person in place, coach, God love him. But that kind of divide the team. You don't want to divide the team on your quarterback. And that would be a whatever Manziel goes, he's going to get a chance to be a starter. And that's what he wants. I think he deserves that. I think he's got the starting quarterback talent. Now let me tell you something here, Mr. Hall of Famer Roger Staubach. I truly do appreciate your giving your opinion on this, but let me tell you something, folks. For those who are right now on lunch break, for those who are at home and listening to Coropal Martinez live on YouTube.com here today, getting close to the top of the 1 o'clock hour here this afternoon, which is almost close to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. It seems to me that Johnny Football, in my opinion, if you really want my opinion in this, I think Johnny Manziel does belong with the Dallas Cowboys. And let me tell you why. If you can keep Johnny Manziel to stay out of trouble with the local law here in the city of North Texas and keep him clean from doing anything dumb, then yes, the Dallas Cowboys will not be 8-8 in September through December through January through February. No. They'll go undefeated if they get this young man. And I would like to see Johnny Manziel play on the football team. Now, I think Roger Staubach, who's a legend Hall of Famer, has lost his mind. I mean, really? 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 Come on, man. Come on, man. No. Come on, Roger Staubach. You do not mean that, man, sir. You really don't mean that. I mean, look here, Cowboys fans. You put Johnny Manziel together on that same football team with Tony Romo, who is 34 years old. And if I search the age of Johnny Manziel, I will tell you how old this kid is. How about that? Let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Okay, here we go. A&M, right? Okay. We will tell you what is the age compared to Tony Romo, compared to Johnny Manziel, which is known as Johnny Football, right? Here we go. Let's look at the roster here. Okay, I would tell you how old is this kid? Okay, because clearly to me, as you may see here, Roger Staubach has lost his mind. He's out of his mind clearly because he has no idea what this young man is capable of doing here for the Dallas Cowboys. And believe me or not, there isn't anything else I would like to say about this young kid, but don't get me wrong. He's a great player. He's a great player. So let's look at his age here. We'll tell you how old is this kid. Okay, compared to Tony Romo, who's 34 years old. Okay, here, let's see here. Let's see. What is his age here? Johnny Manziel, right? Let's see. That's stats. He's a sophomore. Let's go to quarterbacks. Okay. We will try to see if we can get his age here. I'm trying to see how old is he, but it really does not say. Okay, that can tell a little bit about his. Let's go to his player profile, shall we? Let's go to that. I think that's where we're going to get his age here, right? Okay. Clearly right now, he has 37 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. His career 7.80, 63 touchdowns. I mean, what else do you want from this kid? This kid is a great quarterback. And I will give to find out what he really is here. I mean, this guy is a great quarterback. So I don't know what else Mr. Roger Staubach wants on this young man here. I mean, clearly, this is something that very much surprises me, and it nearly does. I mean, I couldn't say any more for this young man, but let's go to the stats here on this young man here, shall we? For one, he is a great quarterback, and I couldn't give anything else for this young man, but clearly he's the best quarterback ever that knows how to play football. And to me, as you may seem here, this is not the only guy you want here, but clearly Johnny Football does belong to the Cowboys. Let me tell you, it's been a great opportunity talking about this young man here today, because clearly to me, as you may see here, with Roger Staubach, who's a Hall of Famer here, clearly has no idea what the young man is doing. clearly has no idea what he wants. Clearly has no idea what the young man wants here because he has no idea what's going on here. I mean, clearly, does it get any worse for this young man? Like I said, about 11 teams here, they won. So that's where we're going to go right now here on the Insider. But 11 teams want Johnny Manziel. 11 teams want Johnny Football. So, let's see here. Well, it doesn't have it here on this one. So, okay, so let's go to here. We'll go here. So, clearly to me, as you may see here, folks, Johnny Manziel is the greatest player ever. I couldn't argue with that anymore because he's a great kid. Now, I do appreciate everyone considering. So we're going to go with the 11 teams here that might consider Johnny Football by our own very own Mike Sandano, right? So clearly to me, it's seen here. About 11 teams here want the great old kid, Johnny Football. So here we go. One player in the 2014 NFL Draft has the power intensity transformed to every net franchise and comparing one Texas A&M quarterback Johnny Manziel stands alone, and he is regarded. He's the X factor, the top 10 selections, the player hardcore football people see moving the needle enough for a team owner to pursue his decision making in selecting Manziel with an early choice. It will be hard for some owners not to push, but one general manager predicted. Here's a couple of teams which, with the owner very much implied, a veteran agent said. The Cleveland Browns and the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders are not going to be so interested in Johnny Football. The Cleveland Browns are not going to be so interested in Johnny Football because clearly nobody wants him. So I can say for behalf of this young man here, it's going to be a top 10 here, people. And the majority of those young men here have an opportunity to rest stand on forward. Because clearly, as you may see, he has a lot of opportunity, has a great issue, and there's nothing else to be said. So, where do we stand on the players themselves? And that's where we're going to go right now. Okay. So let's see, we can find here Mr. Good old Johnny Manziel. Right? Good old Johnny Manziel. Now he is a great leader. And don't get me wrong, he's like the best quarterback ever given to a thought that what really stands on you, well, clearly it stands on everyone. So let's see here. Let's see here. We go to JJ's. Okay, here we go. Now, to me, at some point right now, this is something that very much just surprises me. No, I mean it really does. I couldn't say any more or less for these young men, but clearly only one of them wants to blame the NFL. So how will we figure out what truly, needs to be done here? Now, see, that's not the only point here, folks. And a lot of us, we know for that fact that only one person is going to get this game. Right? Only one person is going to pick them up. And who can that be? And now, Johnny Football, great kid. Great kid. Everyone here in North Texas and likes this kid, right? Who doesn't? I mean, name me one person who truly doesn't want Johnny Manziel. So here we go. Johnny Manziel. Now, as it may seem to me in any way given forward, he's a great kid. He's a great kid. And he does everything he can here to play and every sport he can. So let's go ahead here and see if we can search his age here, shall we? because this is something that we really need to be looking on forward here. So let's go ahead and search Johnny Manziel, shall we? And once we search his age, we will tell you who's a little bit older, right? Whether is it, whether it could be, uh, I don't know. I'm guessing, uh, let's see. We'll tell you who's a little bit more older here, right? Because this is a great person who, very much to me, goes ever since. Okay, so we'll tell you about his Wikipedia here, which just means biography. Biography. Okay, let's see here. His age really doesn't say that much. And okay, here we go. This guy is 21 years old. Okay, 21 years old. Tony Realm was what, 34? So you put the 21-year-old Johnny Manziel with Tony Romo. Okay, Tony Romo, he's got nothing left in him. Okay, he's got nothing left in him. How are you gonna project the quarterback here when you had no options given to you or anyone else for any consultant ridiculous anyway? I mean, are you going to what? I mean, you compare a 34-year-old quarterback with a 21-year-old quarterback. I mean, come on, guys. This is something that's not happening. I know for the fact that Johnny Manziel is the best kid ever for a football team here. Now, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I want to go after this kid, I would like to see him playing in the NFL. I would like to see him play with this team here, with the Dallas Cowboys, because clearly to me, as we see, it's an issue giving to these guys. But anyways, going on forward, let's go and talk here some NBA games here for you tonight. NBA playoffs continue on forward here tonight on your local networks. Here we go. Later on tonight at 6 o'clock on TNT Network, Dallas Mavericks take on the San Antonio Spurs live from San Antonio, Texas. 6:30, the Brooklyn Nets at the Toronto Raptors. 8:30 on TNT, Portland Trail Blazers take on the Houston Rockets. You can watch the 6:30 game on NBA TV and 2 games on TNT. Right now, I'm liking Dallas on this one. I'm going to take Portland. Portland takes care of Houston. I don't think Houston is going to come back at all, period, because they can't. They can't come back at all, period. So they have plenty of time here to pull this series back. The Mavericks will win. The Brooklyn Nets will win tonight on NBA TV. And on TNT, the Portland Trail Blazers will win tonight. So I'm liking those teams. Now, in a few more hours, you got White Sox and Tigers on WGN America. And at 7:05, you got Rangers and Athletics. Then 6 o'clock on ESPN Dallas 102.3. Game 5 tonight in San Antonio, Texas. Very much looking forward to it. Okay. Coming next, you're top of the 1 o'clock hour. I'll continue talking about Roger Staubach, Johnny Manziel. Where do you want Johnny Manziel? Where do you think Johnny Manziel is going to end up? I'm not so sure where you're going to put him at right now, because there's a lot of teams out there that want this kid. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a great person, I think, and I wouldn't give any thoughts to it, but how much are you going to offer this kid, really? I mean, is there anything that you would get for him? And noticing that you stand on him forward, right? You stand on him forward, and there's nothing else you can talk about this guy, because this guy, like I said, he's the best person ever. I mean, I couldn't say any more or less. When we come back to the next on YouTube.com, I will talk about more news stories here with you folks, because we really much got a lot to talk about here. I mean, truly, we got one story that let's go here to crime, shall we? This is a crime story that involves a child, and it also involves a paletero. And this is This is hard to believe. I mean, it truly is hard to believe. We'll tell you who it was and how did it happen in the first place. I mean, this is something that very much surprises me. And the fact that we didn't know about the story does not mean we cannot tell you about it. Now, this happened in Austin, Texas. We'll tell you who it was. We'll tell you who it was and why. Why did it happen? I mean, clearly, why did it happen? We'll tell you after these, after this message presented by California Pizza Kitchen. Evaluate your taste. We did experience stands from our go to CaliforniaPizzaKitchen.com. That's a great promo there, folks. We'll take a break. We'll talk about this story here next, about this sad story that happened in Austin, Texas. Presented by CC Carpet Flooring Design Center for every surface in your home since 1989. Zero financing for 24 months. Go to cccarpet.com. We'll be back here next live on YouTube.com. We'll be back next.
Great tasting, bold flavor, 10 calories. Dr. Pepper 10. Taste the bold country. Not a bad way to end the day. Look to the sky, listen to the trees. Out on the river, just a man moving away, searching for that great taste. 10 calories. Great tasting, bold flavor, 10 calories. Dr. Pepper 10. Taste the bold country. Not a bad way to end the day.
Alright, tonight is 1:32. Welcome back here live on YouTube.com. Presented by CC Carpet Flooring Design Center. Call 888-365-1013. Call every day. cccarpet.com for every zero financing for 24 months. CC Texas Rangers. Okay. Before we continue live on YouTube.com. Present the guy you know that put actor Mark Ciccone, the craft.com. Here we'll really have technical difficulties here. Really going on. There's a lot of things here. Just difficulties. As soon as we get it back, we'll discuss it. But the first one I was talking about earlier with this college football thing, to me it sounds ridiculous. And the fact is, And I was talking about Johnny Manziel here. I truly think that Johnny Manziel does belong with the Dallas Cowboys. I truly think that he does. I wouldn't give it any hope that he doesn't, but I truly do. Okay, so I was saying here, presented by Eat Like the Guy You know that puts you at the market spoilers on everything. That be the cheese, macaroni. We're going to craft.com. Austin, Texas. Police arrested a man after they said he sexually assaulted an 11-year-old girl in his van. Police charged 52-year-old Banjalo Flores with aggravated sexual assault of a child earlier this week. They say doctors diagnosed a young girl with a sexually transmitted disease, and as she had described how her neighbor, the ice cream man, sexually assaulted her in his van more than once. Two ice cream trucks sat outside Flores' home in the Tejas Mobile Plaza trailer park. He's quiet, and it's why many neighbors and children here know. He's quiet, he looks nice, said neighbor Victor Martinez. They don't know how much about him. They don't know much about him other than that. He's friendly, said neighbor Gloria Morales. Women, including Morales, allowed their children to stop by the home for a treat. Yes, sometimes 1 or 2 times for the week, she said. Monday night, instead of the children at the home, they saw police. When I saw the cops, all I said, what's wrong? Because here, it's so quiet, I saw that yesterday. I said, wow, I don't know, Martinez said. Police said Flores invited the 11-year-old girl to sit in the van with him between August and September of last year. When she reached to get an ice cream out of the freezer in the back, he grabbed her wrist and sexually assaulted her. According to the arrest, after that, she said it happened more than two other times. He was using this ice cream truck as front of her committing the act he was committing, said Austin Police Detective Brandon Paul. Paul said he drove the van in other neighborhoods. It's not clear where now they're asking parents to talk to their children. We are very concerned that there are other children that might possibly be victimized by him, Paul said. Police acted quickly to arrest him. Police said he's flight risk. He was earlier in the process of being deported, or was being deported quite a few years ago, Paul said. Neighbors are shocked to hear the friendly neighborhood ice cream man might not be the person they thought. I am very afraid, Morales said. I am surprised. I don't know really what to say, but I'm surprised, Martinez said. Flores is in jail over a $150,000 bond placed on Immigration and New Translation Service detainer on him. Detectives said they are not releasing his picture at this time because if the other victims come forward, they want to identify him in a photo lineup. Both ice cream vans have been exploited food vendor permits on them. Police said that's not the focus of the investigation at this point. They're unsure if Health and Human Services will get involved. North Texas, as this may seem here in Dallas and Fort Worth, technically to me, this is something that I cannot understand. How are you going to be that person who's a paletero, who sells ice cream to kids when it's hot weather? How are you gonna trust these ice cream men in these local barrios? You won't. So that means human services are going to get involved with this man, 52 years old. Now, I truly just don't get it. How in the world does a scumbag like Flores sexually assaults an 11-year-old child? I truly do feel bad for her. I truly do. Now I hope these young victims do come forward and put him behind bars. That's what I would say. Put him behind bars. Put him behind bars and keep him there for what he clearly deserves for what he have done to an innocent child who did not, I repeat, did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to get raped by this man here in the state of Texas. This is something that's very much surprises me. I mean, every time I hear about innocent children getting raped, I'm wondering what other moron out there, fool, is going to do this. This is ridiculous. Now we have another case going on forward at Southern Methodist here in Dallas also. Now this is something that